mom always wanted me to do a lot of like extracurricular activities. So like I was in the Boy Scouts, I did martial arts, I was on the swim team, and she was like, "Hey, your cousins are going to this acting school. You should check it out." And I was like, "I'm not gonna be a stupid actor. That's ridiculous. Like, who wants to be an actor? It's so stupid." And then she begged me for like 3 months.
So now you're stupid.
Exactly. But so I checked out the school, and I took one class, and I said, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life." I dropped out of college. My parents freaked out. They kind of like disowned me for 2 years, and I worked in a restaurant.
It was their idea.
Exactly, exactly. And I was like, "It's your fault." But that's kind of how it all started. And at the time, this was like 10 years ago. It was really tough because at that time, like there wasn't an Asian American community, and I think it was like John Cho was like the MILF guy in American Pie. You know, there weren't any shows that showcased any Asian American talent, so it was tough. But that's kind of how it all started. What had happened was I auditioned for that movie 6 months prior to me getting the call, so I didn't even remember what that movie was. Like my agent called me, she was like, "Hey," she's like, "I got amazing news for you," and I was like, "Okay, cool. So what is it?" And she was like, "You just got a film." I was like, "Great. What is it?" And she goes, "Do you remember that movie you auditioned for?" I was like, "No." She's like, 6 months ago, and I was like, "How am I supposed to remember?" She was like, "Yeah, well, you got it, and guess who's in it?" And she told me the cast, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And I wasn't like jumping for joy. I was kind of like, "Wow, this."
No.
Yeah, I was like, "This kind of just happened. This is," and I kind of freaked out because I was like, "Okay, this happened. I gotta get to work now. It's like I can't make myself, look like a fool in front of like all these people." So, yeah.
And so we definitely have to talk about Sean's film because he's our buddy, right?
Yeah.
Sean's our buddy.
Sean's amazing.
And I've seen The Forest.
Awesome. Towards the end of the film, I don't know if you remember, there's like this really intense, long part where it's exactly what you said. Like Sean kind of built tension by cutting away to things that he didn't show much. So it's like it kind of let the audience kind of let the audience's imagination kind of go wherever Sean wanted the film. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah, they can leave it open. So
yeah. That's what I kind of felt like he did with that last part of the movie, and even when I was watching it, I was kind of like, "Oh my god, this is kind of freaky." And even though I was in it and I knew what was going on, it was interesting. Like when I finally saw the final product. So the character kind of is like this research kind of guy, big tech guy, and he's kind of like the brain of the group when they track down ghosts. Sean was very specific in what he wanted in each scene, and he was very specific in what he wanted, how he wanted every scene to kind of play out, which was great, because all I needed to do was kind of take Sean's direction. Whereas other directors, some directors are very open, extremely open, and they sometimes don't give you a lot of direction, and it can be great because you can experiment, but it can also be a little worrisome at times because it's kind of like you start kind of like wonder, is this the way?
Am I doing what I should be doing?
Am I doing what exactly? Am I doing what I should be doing? It's kind of like a high school kid. I just had one scene with Richard Greeley, which was great, and it was like this huge racial argument on the balcony of an apartment. So it was great working with him and the director. So the movie's about this knife company, Sharp Co. It's like a door-to-door sales company, and I play a manager who hires this character who needs a job, and I pretty much kind of show him the ropes of how the company works. So this guy who just graduates, and he wants to he's kind of like a surfer bum, and his family starts to fall apart because his father loses his job, and so he's forced to kind of work and find a job himself, and he finally ends up at Sharpco, and he comes to the seminar which I'm like preaching and everything, and comes and I interview him and I hire him on the spot.